Welcome back from the break. You're still watching This Week, and I'm Somna Sambo. Now, the crisis in the Labour Party seems nowhere to be resolved as supporters of its presidential candidate in the 2023 general election, Peter Obi, under the aegis of the Obedient Movement, have disowned the party's recent decision to establish an Obedient Directorate within the party. Now, the Obedient Movement issued a disclaimer late in Abuja, shortly signed by some conveners who are saying that Peter Obi's movement continues to be bigger than the political party. And then, of course, some of the issues that have come on have generated controversy. The Obedient Movement said that one of the people who has been appointed doesn't deserve to be appointed at the moment, and saying that there needs to be a rethink about it. Well, Julius Abure, the national chairman of the party, has gone ahead to actually douse tension and rebuild confidence among stakeholders of the party. He has announced the formation of a directorate to coordinate the affairs of what he calls Labour Party Obedient. Now, the move to formalize the Obedient Directorate and integrate its members into the party structure has angered the Obedient Movement's leaders, who view the creation of the directorate and the appointment of individuals without consulting Obi or the core movement as an overreach. And the group's leaders denounced the party's decision, saying it is an attempt to usurp the Obedient Movement's grassroots-driven force. Well, the inauguration has now gone ahead, and of course, several issues have happened, and we will be having one of the leaders joining us right here to have a look at what exactly is happening within the party. Thank you so much for joining us at the moment. We have Maxwell Ngogbehei joining us right here in the studio to take a critical look at it. Thank you so much. What exactly is at the heart of this controversy with your announcement, Marcel, actually? Okay,
I wouldn't call what is happening in the Labour Party crisis. I would call it a minor disagreement in principles.
Okay.
Now, and it's very important we use the right words, because within families, there are disagreements, you know, even husband and wife disagree and all that. But what is important is, in the midst of that disagreement, everybody should look forward towards a happy ending where everybody comes together to work. So if we move back to the beginning of the 2023 elections, where the time the Obedient Movement came about, there were a small group of people that came together. They don't know each other. We've never met each other. They came together and they raised money. We didn't have to talk to Peter Obi or any candidate or anything. We just believed in him, and we believe that that's the kind of person we want to be our president. We believe his personality will give us the kind of country we want. So we came together independently and contributed money. I remember how much was contributed in lives. Each group contributed 400,000 each to raise money. I think we were like about 17 group then. So we raised that money. That money was what we used to execute the first 1 million man march. I was the chairman of that committee. I was elected the chairman of that committee. Now, that group was made up of different support groups. So when we did the 1 million man march, we now realized that we would be more effective if we come together and form synergy. And that was where the concept of a coalition came on board. Even before that coalition was formed, crisis was there, but we managed it. I mean, where you have people of different
political activities, you always have crisis.
Exactly, minor disagreements and all that. But when you have people of different interests, you should expect everybody to, like, push in their powers. So an election was conducted and the coalition was set up. I was elected as the chairman of the coalition. The election happened in May, June. Within 3 months of my election and working with the Executive Council, we made that coalition a household name. We mobilized around the country, set up structures. Obedience now.
The concept
obedience.
Of
we made it a household name. We mobilized among ourselves, raised our money. P2B wasn't involved. Even at a point where we're not comfortable with some stance P2B was taking, and we're telling him that, look, we don't really care. All what we're interested in, we want to put you in Aso Rock, and whatever it means for us to do it, we'll have to do it. So we're fairly very much independent, and we took that independent posture because we don't want anybody to take responsibility for our actions. We want to be responsible for our actions. But as we go down the line, we realize that there's need for synergy with the party. I was the one that made the announcement asking P2B to leave PDP and move into Labour Party when it was clear.
You were one, because I mean,
yes,
there were so many people actually.
If you check the video I sent you, if you check some of the video I sent you this morning, the information is that I was the one that made the announcement on Arise TV. I was in London when I was interviewed, and the next day P2B moved to PDP, and every one of us moved with him. Okay, so that movement was strong under my leadership. So we realized that there was need for a strategic partnership. You can't, with the way the structure of this system is, there is no room for an independent candidate. So we have to run under a party. So when we left PDP, we moved into Labour Party. I have not belonged to any political party in my life.
This is the first time.
This is the first time of me getting involved in this. I have
all right, but we've now come to see this controversy. And then, Marcel, your announcement is generating lots of uproar, and some people are saying that the obedient movement should not be built around a particular party, or even having a directorate headed by someone like you. How do you feel? I mean, you are saying you are one of the very first people who built this movement. Now, people seem to be rejecting. And we've seen Julius Abure, the national chairman, going ahead to inaugurate it under a new name today, and you were the leader.
Is there any political decision that you think people don't reject in this country? There's none. So the truth is that you do not expect to have, in fact, if you have 100% saying nay, you should look back and have a second thought. So it's normal to have disagreement, like I said. And let us be clear. One of the challenges we had in 2023 was the non-integration of the movement into the party. The movement was doing a lot of things that if there has been serious harmony, we would have made more impact.
Okay.
The first time I walked into Labour Party, I couldn't stay there. Into Labour Party office, I couldn't stay there. It looked strange to me because I was wondering, how can this be an office? There were millions of Nigerians out there that were ready to come and help, build their website, set up their systems, donate things, millions. But there has to be a pathway, because one of the challenges we had is that immediately it became a household name. Everybody started like being a leader. It's just like different kingdoms started. So nobody really knows who to deal with. A lot of people in diaspora was just putting names in different groups and different. So that synergy was needed. And during my tenure as the leader of that coalition, we had a strategic alignment with Labour Party under Abure then. And I could tell you the three things that we achieved. The first thing was we participated with the Labour Party to execute the voters' education system. Labour Party did past sponsorship, we did past sponsorship. So that was a synergy. The second thing was there was a harmonization exercise where our members integrated with Labour Party leadership, and we went down to states, to local governments. So we have our structure at national, states, zonal, local governments. We now integrated with Labour Party along that line, and it cascaded all the way down. That was synergy. The culmination of this synergy was when we now had the summit, the leadership summit at the International Conference Center, where the campaign office, the Labour Party and the obedient movements came together. Yeah,
but people are saying that it was fine then during the campaign, but okay, so people are beginning to question the leadership of Abure now, saying that, look, Abure has got himself into so much controversy that having the obedient integrated into the Labour Party's leadership led by Abure, it's not something that many people are comfortable with. And you would have seen Peter Obi's statement saying that, look, the obedient movement is bigger than the Labour Party, so he wouldn't advise that that should happen. But why do you think Abure did not consult with Peter Obi before heading into such a conclusive decision?
I do not think, as in this is my personal, I do not think there was no consultation. Because Peter Obi is playing to the gallery? No, I wouldn't say he's playing to the gallery either. There was an announcement from the party that they are going to do this, right? Like 3 weeks ago, it was in the news, right? Yeah. So I think that if there was any disagreement at that point, it should have been sorted at that level. That is one. Now, I have asked, and again, P2B is my role model, and I like his style of leadership. I have asked about more than 10 to 20 of my friends to say that particular tweet, compare it with P2B's tone and the way he communicates. Did you notice anything?
Are you saying that
I am asking you now, you as a journalist, you look at that particular tweet, the tone of that particular tweet, the text and the composition of that particular tweet, and compare it with how P2B has been communicating. What do you think?
Well, I'm not a Labour Party member.
Okay, now I am not saying it, but what I like about P2B is he's a leader that takes responsibility.
Yeah, but he has not denied that he.
That's why I'm telling you. That's why I'm telling you that one of the things I like about him, and so many things, that he's a leader that takes responsibility. One of the things we see in some political politicians is that when things go wrong, they throw somebody under the bus and dodge it. But we have a leader that takes responsibility. Okay. And P2B was clear. He said that he doesn't want a directorate, obedient directorate under Labour Party, but that the party can form a youth mobilization. Do you understand? What the party has done was to shift, renamed. So what we have now is Directorate of Mobilization and Integration, because there is need for that.
I heard Abure actually saying that it's a Labour Party obedient movement. Just hold on. Okay. I want us to play out that. Okay. And of course, if studio people could actually just take us into what Peter Obi actually said. Julius Abure actually said during the inauguration of the Directorate earlier on Saturday.
Communication gap between the party and the obedient family. These gaps have given room for misinformation about the party and its leadership. The lack of information dissemination has given room for the ruling oligarchy in Nigeria to infiltrate the movement and is therefore used to negatively work against the leadership of the party.
All right, Julius Abure there, the national chairman of the Labour Party, is saying that it looks like there's miscommunication between the Labour Party, the former presidential candidate who is now the leader of the party, and then, of course, the obedient movement. But I just want you to have a summary of what's going on. Could it be that your rejection earlier on as being the head of the obedient movement is part of what people have come to actually understand generally, that the obedient movement seems to be a little bit, pushy when it comes to issues, and sometimes they don't even mind hitting on their own, just wanting to be on the opposition. Whatever comes, you first oppose it even before you look at the benefits.
Before you look at it. Okay, let us clear some areas, and I'm going to be very blunt here. We went through that statement and the people that signed it. Half of them are non-existent. The numbers are there, you can call them, and they will tell you they were never consulted. So what happened was that, which we normally do on our WhatsApp group, we send messages and ask conveners to put their names and numbers.
Okay. So
conveners will now put as if you are trying to gather a register. Conveners now put their names and numbers, and then the next time they were using
their consent.
Exactly. The numbers are published. Take those numbers and call. I have even asked one of the media guys to do a research on it, to call those people. Half of them will tell you they never consented to that. If there is anything, it should have been signed. You should have gotten a name and get a signature. I can take your name and number and publish. So that thing doesn't exist. Now, let us be clear. The Labour Party as a party has powers to set up committees and directory that will help it solve teething issues. What was the issue on ground? What was the complaint? The complaint was that Abure is not allowing Obedience to join the party. That Abure has refused to integrate Obedience into the party. That was the complaint. Right? And what Abure has done was say, okay, let me dedicate a directorate of which you're obedient, we man. Everybody in that directorate are obedient. There are people we have worked with from more than 3 or 5 years. Look through all the names. One of them came from Big Tent. The other time, they came from different places. So we all got together. How that team was chosen, I don't know. But let me tell you what would have happened. You see, when there are crises, if you take a part, then don't expect to be a judge in that case. So NLC and Abure were having crisis. Some obedient side with NLC.
Okay.
Most of the people you saw that signed that thing, most of them, call them and ask them, they were aligned with NLC.
For Julius Abure to be kicked out of the party.
Exactly. some of us felt that as obedience, let's allow the parties to sort themselves out. We're not interested in the crisis. Let them sort themselves out. We want to remain independent and be able to speak for ourselves. But some by their selfish thing, nature, whatever, decided to take a side. And I could tell you, some of them were promised that once Abure is kicked out, they'll be given positions. Oh. And if you look at the list of those, some of them were people that has held political parties in the past. Their political parties were dissolved. Some of them have been in the party for
just in 30 seconds before I go, Marcel, do you feel slighted by all of this?
At all.
And,
absolutely not.
I mean, lots of people are saying that it's spiteful actually for you to want to lead and offer your services.
Were you at the inauguration?
And for you to feel that people are pushing you away and wanting you to drown in something that is just, you know, it's just for you to contribute your own quota.
Were you in the inauguration?
Well, I wasn't. I mean, we sent a reporter.
Your team would have shown the video. The hall was filled up with jubilations.
Yeah.
It was a welcome development. I am not saying there is no dissenting opinion. There are people that want that position that were not given. Oh, okay. So you should expect dissension, right? Which is okay. But what we have now been mandated to do is to integrate everybody. Okay. And I stand here to tell you today, I, Marcel Ngogbehei, if my resignation from that position will bring peace and bring everybody in, I will resign. And I've told them, we have had a meeting where all of us are sat down together to say, I agree that if my, but let me even take it back.
Some of the criticism is actually that you are living abroad, you are not living in Nigeria. How could you actually drive the obedient movement?
But I am here today. I am making impact.
Yeah, man.
I am here today. And let me tell you.
Very quickly, in 30 seconds.
The bottom line is the obedient movement, the Labour Party, and P2B, who is our presidential candidate, we are all working together. That synergy is a mandatory requirement for success for 2027. What we are going to do going forward is to bring everybody together and lay this to rest.
All right, Marcel Ngogbehei, we must thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
so much.
It's
not easy to be a leader in Nigeria. Now you are having a taste of it. I'm wondering, what if you people were already in government now? You would have been seeing some of the challenges of governance.
But if you really want to make change in the country, you should be ready to take what it takes to make it.
All right, we can only wish you well, but it's just that lots of Nigerians actually felt that Julius Abure was playing too much politics when he named it the obedient, whatever it is. Because what if the party also has a different presidential candidate in the future?
The party has.
It's good that it's been brought back to mobilization.
The party in its convention has ratified P2B as a presidential candidate, and whether in Labour Party we as obedient, because we moved from PDP to Labour, we will work for P2B.
All right, we don't have enough time, but we must thank you so much for joining us
to
help clarify some of the issues in the Labour Party and the obedient movement, and of course with its former presidential candidate Peter Obi. That's the much we can take on this edition of This Week. Thanks to our production team here in Abuja, Lagos and London. Do join us same time next week for another exciting edition. I'm Somna Sambo.